Successful Escapes, Part 17. Hello, I'm HG Tudor, continuing to allow you to access the successful escapes of various people utilizing my work. First of all, we have Umama, who shares her experience, and she has asked that I narrate it. I first came across the works of HG Tudor back in 2016, where I found myself crippled with confusion and questions. I had typed into Google one night something along the lines of, "Why does he treat me so bad?" and fell down a rabbit hole of articles until I finally came across the Knowing the Narcissist website. I can truly say that was the first time my eyes began to open about the type of person I was dealing with. I had been in a non-intimate primary source dynamic with a male friend, who was the narcissist. I was emotionally drained being friends with him and found myself constantly asking why he hated me so much, followed by relief when he returned to normal again. It was a painful realization, but one that was much needed if I was ever to escape his clutches. I found myself religiously reading all of HG's articles, from ones about no contact to those about flying monkeys, and it was as if, piece by piece, the jigsaw puzzle was finally coming together, and the behaviors I was experiencing all made sense. I found that HG's style of writing in the first person, as well as his personal insight into his own narcissism, made me feel as if I was being spoken to by my own narcissist. It was the narcissist telling me that I needed to leave, that there was no hope holding on to this futile relationship. Everything that HG was talking about in his articles was happening to me in real time. The love bombing, silent treatments, hoovering, triangulation, etc. And it was up to me to break the cycle and go completely no contact. I finally made the decision to go no contact with this individual, and I've not looked back. He still attempted to hoover me even 7 years later. Alas, this was not the end of my journey with HG, or narcissists for that matter, as while I had learnt a crucial amount about narcissists, there was still some more learning to do about me, the type of personality I was, and why I kept attracting these people. I then discovered HG had a YouTube channel, and finally heard a voice to the words that had pulled me out of a dark place. I soon discovered that some members of my own family who I had problematic relationships with fitted the bill of being narcissists, and I then began to educate my immediate family as much as I could. I sent HG's works to my mother, who finally found the strength to go no contact with my narcissist older sister after reading and listening to HG's work. The most recent experience I have had with a narcissist, and the time where I have felt most supported by HG, was this year, when I finally left my abusive husband of 3 years. One would think that with all this knowledge I had about narcissists, I should have been able to quickly identify him as one. However, I realized that this wasn't the case. I'd only just discovered the different schools and cadres of narcissists, and realized that I'd once again been ensnared. It was after I suffered an horrific smear campaign by my ex-husband that I decided that I needed to have some clarity as to what he was. I made use of various email consultations with HG, asking questions that were relevant to my situation, such as my divorce proceedings and my obtaining of a non-molestation order. HG also encouraged me to obtain a narc detector consultation so that he could determine what type of narcissist I was dealing with. I did this, and I must say that this was the absolute turning point for me. HG described my husband to a T and determined he was an upper lesser type A somatic narcissist. HG was then able to tailor his answers according to the type of narcissist my husband was, correctly informing me how he would behave in certain situations and giving me an insight into the narcissist's thought process. I also made use of the divorce package, the Narc Vision triple pack, HG Moore's the upper lesser type A, Will the Narcissist use sensitive material against me and smeared in order to learn more about my husband and protect myself in the process. I found these immensely helpful, and they provided me with reassurance and comfort, so much so that I was now able to look at my narc objectively, rather than through heightened emotional thinking. This aided me massively throughout what was a complex and lengthy process, made all the more arduous by my narcissist. I also made use of the empath detector to determine what I was and who I was attracting. HG had articulated everything I had felt, although the questions I had about why I feel things so strongly, why I feel the need to constantly save the narcissist from themselves, as well as why I'm so drawn to them. HG's candid and no-nonsense approach to narcissism is what empaths like me need to hear. For me, HG and his work is an alternative form of therapy. I'm not told what I want to hear. I'm told the cold, hard truth directly from the horse's mouth, so to speak. The truth, albeit bitter, is that the rose-tinted glasses are finally off, and I feel that I can now see the world clearly now. I feel as if I can spot a narc almost immediately and can cut the cord before it's too late. I know that while I cannot guarantee that I will never cross paths with another narcissist again, HG has equipped me with all that I need to ensure that I can escape for good. Thank you, HG. There we have the experience of Umama, who found freedom from her abusive husband and also recognized other narcissists that existed around her. She made useful application of various of my works to achieve that. Next we hear from an adult child of both a narcissist and an empath. This individual has also asked that I narrate their experience. Dear HG Tudor, it doesn't matter who I am or where I'm from. All that matters is who I represent. I want to thank you for helping my mum escape, because if it wasn't for you helping my mum along, I do not think she would have come back to me the way I remembered her. When I was little, I called my mum Rainbow Mum. When she smiled, laughed, and danced silly around the house, I saw all the colours of the rainbow around her. I know it sounds weird, but it's true. She was like a prism. Things changed because of my dad. He stole her colours. He stole her colours wearing that smirk of his. I hated that smirk. My mum started to change. She became sad, anxious and fearful. She worried often. I didn't see her smile or laugh anymore. She stopped dancing. She was treated badly by him, and I was too little to stop it. I felt bad for her. I tried to help her. I'd stomp on his foot or slam the door in his face. I would scream at him from the top of my lungs to stop talking to my mother like that. I tried to protect her as best as I could. He said it was my mom's fault. I knew it wasn't true. I was told I didn't see what I saw. I was told I didn't hear what I'd heard. I knew what I saw and I knew what I heard. I tried to tell people what was going on, hoping someone would come and rescue us. Nobody ever came. Then one day my mum had had enough. She scooped me up and we left the house for good. I was happy. So happy that I finally handed my iPod to my mum. You see, HG, I was too young to protect my mum, but not too young to know how to record. Everybody had thought that my iPod was broken. I fooled them all. Nobody knew, not even my mum. I captured the evidence you call ignited fury. Not seconds, not minutes, but hours of footage, hours of his ignited fury. I did not know how important it was at the time, but I knew that people would believe us. You should have seen my mum's face when she pressed the play button on my iPod for the first time. I had the last laugh. Life was difficult after we left, but my mum still made the bad times seem like an adventure for me. She tried very hard to make herself look happy, even though I knew she wasn't. She looked tired and sick, to be honest. I worried about what would happen to me if something had happened to her. When my mum found your YouTube channel, her colours began to reappear. She was calm again. She smiled and laughed more often. She started to dance again. Rainbows and happiness filled our home again. She took you everywhere with her, HG. You were with her while driving, making dinner, cleaning the house, taking a shower, riding her bike, and as a companion on her work trips. I'd be lying if I didn't admit it was annoying, but I understood that you were the only one who was really helping her, and the only one who was there all the time when she needed understanding. I grew up with you. You have been a part of my life for many years. I laugh because my grandmother is really frightened by your voice, but even she began to listen to you to try to understand what we'd been through. My grandmother still cannot understand the concept of somebody having no empathy. She's a delayed learner, I think. I try to explain it to her. I'm not sure if she'll ever get it, but that's okay. She doesn't need to get it. My grandmother supports you because she has her daughter back, so she's happy too. I'm not a good writer. I'm not as smart as you. My vocabulary is not great. I'm a shitty student who struggles with terrible focus issues because of my past. The past can be haunting for me sometimes. I'm working hard to change this, just as hard as my mum worked to change herself. I know what I have to do. I can assure you that I can easily detect narcissists. I see them. I can identify them quickly. I do not need to listen to you a lot because I already know what you say is true. I can ignore them, no problem. I know my mum cannot do this well. We argue about this sometimes. She cannot see what I can see in people. She frustrates me. I see how people are drawn to her, like you explain, and I notice that the same people who are drawn to her avoid me. Little do they know I always have the last laugh. I am in her ear, with whispers of warnings. I see their colours and they are dull. Their colours don't shine as brightly as my mum's. My mum and I escaped together. She saved me, and then you saved her. I think you may call her the intervener. She is my intervener. I love her very much, and I'm proud of her. She worked very hard to get her life back to me, to give me a better life. I have my own story to tell. Maybe someday I will tell it. I'm not ready yet. I hope to consult with you soon so that I can give you a proper thank you now as a grown man. What is most important is who I represent. I represent the next generation of your students who will continue your legacy. Thank you, HG Tudor. You do save people's lives and bring them happiness. You speak the truth. You speak the solution. I respect you even though I am all too familiar with the colours of your kind. Sincerely, an adult child of a narcissist and empath. An interesting angle and recollection there from somebody who wanted to protect his mother and struggled to do so, but then found that through my work she was helped, and has taken it upon himself to thank me for bringing his mother back. 2 more interesting, successful escapes, and if you'd like to add to them, send your video or audio file or written work for me to narrate to narcissist1909@gmail.com for consideration in this ongoing series. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.